to me? Oh, tell me what you doing to me. Oh, tell me what you doing to me. You know that my love don't come for free, and you scared, and I'm scared of me. You know that my love don't come for free. My love don't come for free. You tell me what you doing to me. 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 You know that my love don't come for free, and you scared, and I'm scared of me. You know that my love don't come for free. My love don't come for free. You know I started my own company. I still need you in my company. If I would've ride, would you ride with me? If I would've died, would you die with me? If my shit was whack, would you lie to me? I don't like to show the other side of me. I never leave my boys because they ride with me. And she don't need to keep it cause she ride on me. Too much hate inside, but it's a part of me. Tell me, can I love when hate's a part of me? Do you remember being ugly, then you glowed on me? Not everybody wants you when it's hard on me. When I look you in the eyes, it take control of me. You know I hate it when you mad at me. My love is deeper than the galaxy. Equivalent exchange the way I alchemy. From the east side better still want a freestyle better still sway. You tell me what you doing to me. 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 You know that my love don't come for free, and you scared, and I'm scared of me. You know that my love don't come for free. My love don't come for free. You tell me what you doing.
Just when you thought you were out, pulled you back in. Well, I need to work out, man. I do my workout. I'll upload this on YouTube tomorrow morning. All right. I'm gonna hop into this quickly because I gotta get that shit done. But just to preface, just the same way I have to do with the Drit stuff. So yeah, just a preface. There is no ill will here. Me and Dr. Bonehead are friends. We have no problem with each other because I think sometimes when these things happen, it's very easy for the fan base to cause a division. And I know the male ego, okay? So I get how that stuff can get a little testy. There's no ill will here. I made a video. I have obviously been highly critical of Tower of God's third season specifically. If you watch my content for a long time, you know this my problems really started with Tower of God in The Last Station, bled into season 3, and I haven't really been a fan of what's been going on of recent. And I've had a series of videos criticizing many parts of the series. I have criticized Bam. I think Bam is a huge problem and gets way too much focus. I've criticized the power scaling. I've criticized some of the side characters and their utility, how he's used them. And then we spoke about was he a little overzealous? Did he do too much with the blog post and telling us too much too soon? All those types of things. So it culminated in me making a video called Tower of Problems, where I was essentially like, why should I care anymore about any of this? There's no tension. Tower God has the fakest tension I have ever seen in my life. To the point, in the most recent chapter, Bam lost. He's bleeding on the floor, and I laugh like, this is not moving me. He about to get up and do some irregular nonsense. I couldn't even be like, oh wow, White just beat him. So we're gonna see what he had to say to my video, and then we'll just call it a day. Are y'all ready? I'm getting a lot of reactions to other people's content today. All right, let's get it.
recently, Nia D. Hemmings made a YouTube video talking about Tower of God that interested me. You know, it caught my attention, I decided to watch it, and after listening to what he had to say, critiquing some of the aspects
Persona
of
5 in the back.
content in Tower of God, I wanted to break it down and talk about it and sort of respond to it. Because Nia makes a lot of good points here, but there's also a lot that I sort of disagree with. I can totally see where he's coming from, but I have my own sort of opinions about what's going on, and I thought it would be interesting to sort of, you know, debate with you all and just see what you all think and just talk about this topic, because it is something that I have heard people complain or critique before, and I think it would make for some good content. So before I even start though, go check out Nia D. Hemmings' YouTube channel. The link is down below. He has been making Tower of God content for a long time. Way longer than I have.
Was I live when he made this?
Tower of God
I was
YouTubers.
live.
So definitely go support him. I think we should encourage this kind of talk about Tower of God more because, you know,
Yes, Bam Stan, stop yelling at me. God damn
someone
it.
like me, my channel's entirely on Tower of God, and I tend to 99% of the time be like, Tower of God's the best, you know, SIU is incredible and the best and the story is incredible. And when I say those things, I genuinely mean it. You know, obviously I'm biased, like pretty much my entire 90% of my channel is Tower of God based, and you know, I obviously want people to keep watching my videos, so I'm not going to deny
My captain
that,
taught me to
you
keep
know,
the
I
faith.
am
All right, Miles.
genuinely mean it. Like, I'm genuinely enjoying Tower of God now more than I ever have. Like, this to me is...
That's crazy to me. If you, I believe what he says. That is a crazy statement to me. I don't know if I've heard anyone say that. One thing I would say is I think a lot of people have somewhat agreed that, okay, like, oh shit, have somewhat agreed that there's been a bit of a quality dip, but I'll listen to his reasons before I say anything.
Peak Tower of God content. Hopefully you go watch his video first, which I'll link down below, but I'm gonna go piece by piece here.
There's no danger in Tower of God anymore. There is specifically one current thing that's happening that could possibly occur that I think would give this situation a sense of dread, but otherwise, there's no tension and suspense in Tower of God, and I felt this way for a long time.
Nia starts by sort of asserting his point here, and that is that Tower of God has lost its tension. There's no tension anymore. He brings up Yama, he brings up Bomb, basically saying there's no fear that there's going to be consequences or that something's going to happen to these characters because of the choice.
Or the consequences will be very minimal and nothing. You know, sometimes after a really big arc, and even though the hero saved the day, it's like, did they really win? Because maybe there was so much collateral damage and so much lost lives. If like Superman saves Metropolis, that you're like, did they really win? Or at the very least, this victory came at a big cost.
Choices they make, and basically that they're going to win their fights, and the tension is lost. Now, he makes a good point about Yama. He basically talks about how Yama's back to full HP, the fight didn't even matter, he has the Fang now, and that's it, he's ready to fight. Now, the newest chapter does show that...
Why is his picture of Yama so crisp? Why is it so HD? Why should it not be looking like that?
Yama did sort of still have some leftover consequences. I'm not going to spoil too much, though, for people who haven't just read the recent chapter that came out yesterday. But, you know, aside from that, though, because that's not really too valid, it's just a couple of marks or whatever, I do agree that, you know, I wish Doom maybe had some consequence. I wish that maybe when Doom gave Yama his Fang, maybe Doom had to sacrifice every piece of canine power he had, or I don't want to say that Doom dies, but something could have happened there. I agree.
It just seems like a very, very weird thing to have him get mangled. There was splotches of blood like he was ragdolled and dragged. And it's like, yo, here's his tooth. You good? Yeah, let's get it. It's just like, bro. That was so jarring. It completely killed any interest I really had of a rematch. The only thing that I'll say is if it ties into Lopobia family head stuff and like Lopobia history, Doom's relationship with Yasaracha, things of that nature, there's still some intrigue there. But as far as the actual fight itself go, I'm not sure I care anymore.
But at the same time, I do think that the entire fight served a great purpose. It built up fantastic character development for Yama, because Yama's someone who operates based off of everyone else being afraid of him. If you're afraid of Yama, you cannot hurt him. It is impossible, right? And for the first time in his life, assumedly, Yama learned what fear was like. And just the entire dynamic of Yama for the first time ever, being just absolutely beaten to a pulp. It doesn't matter that Yama's now back to fighting fit. What matters is that he was in that position.
I disagree with this point because I would agree with it if it was an organic fear. Where was this like, was I in over my head? Have I spent so much time in a cage amongst my own halberds, own people? This is the world. You know, the frog in the well story? The same way. Oh shit, we talked about One Piece not too long ago. The same way Mihawk told Zoro, yo, you're a frog in the well. It's time for you to learn how big the world is. And he got washed. He was nowhere near it. Yasracha had already implanted some type of fear fang in him already from like years ago when Doom was running away with him as babies. It wasn't a genuine like, oh my god, I'm not strong enough. And then when he got the tooth in his chest, he's all relaxed again. I disagree with it. But it does matter.
And had to learn what it was like. You know, he was always so used to being at the top of the fighting pit, top of the food chain, and then he realized, wait, I'm not. You know, I'm insignificant to this greater predator. You know, he was so used to being the predator, and he was.
Yasracha is a beast tamer and a predator, apex predator.
And
what predator?
Also, he got to see that flashback with his father and Yasracha, and you can totally see that when he comes out of that, he learned something.
Yeah, I admitted that already.
And again, in the newest chapter,
there's something that he saw his father do or say that gave him maybe it's a weakness, maybe it's a secret. I don't know what it is, but this is the only thing to me that remains to be slightly interesting about this conflict right now.
Doom even remarks on that. He based, I won't say too much more, but it's clear that Yama is a changed person. That affected him. So while I do agree that it's like, well, okay, I guess he's back to normal and we're going to have round 3. Like, okay, whatever. But I do think it served a great purpose regardless.
I've probably thought about this for a while, but I think the first time that it really hit me was when Gato, Yama's number 2.
Good-looking young man.
As far as we concerned.
Like, yeah, I mean?
Strong Slayer, so you would think that his number 2 is pretty competent. And he pull up on Bam like, oh, why don't you fight me? And I'm like, oh, that nigga dead. And I'm like, oh, wait, why did I immediately dismiss the high ranker?
He then talks about Gato, and he references back during the Cage arc and how Gato was like number 2. But the moment we find out that Bomb is going to fight Gato, well, rest in peace, Gato.
Also, I saw you there's so much capping around this arc in the blog post. I don't know if you remember me sending me the Vince talking. He's like, did he really beat the ranker? Because the ranker didn't use Halborn transformation. And like, did Bam use any Thorn, the Black March? None of that. And he still won. He just dodged and bobbed and weaved and palmed him. You know what I'm saying? So it was a bit of an accumulation of things that were happening too. So we got to keep that in. Sorry, I've been ignoring the chat. My fault. But yeah, just.
We know you're gonna lose, and I don't really agree with this because Bomb didn't even win. Like, Bomb didn't beat Gato.
He took his leg off! Yo, if I fight somebody and the fight's undecided, but you took my leg off, I lost.
Kanzan fought Gato, and Bomb just went in for the sneak attack and just cut off his leg. You know what I mean? So it's like, I don't really think that's fair to assume. Like, even...
But you kind of, I don't know if you're gonna go into this, but you kind of highlight my greater point. It doesn't necessarily have to be just a Bam overcoming the situation. All of the events around the world, the Tower of God, will converge to save him. Kanzan will come in, and then he does something like shoot that. Or like Doom tries to turn him into a canine person. Oh, now what am I gonna do? I'm the eater here, so I'm gonna absorb your ability. And now I got this cutlery, this sword. Like, it actually strengthens my point.
Just after that, we see it takes Bomb-kun and Rack to fight Delete, who's like a tier 1, like a tier 0.
Bam didn't need help to beat that guy.
Ranker, like the lowest tier of ranker, as far as I could tell. He's just a regular dude who's a ranker with a special sword.
And then he beat a ranker before. He beat him in conjunction with those 3, and then he beat a ranker after the fact. Did Bam do this before he went to the wall or after the wall, actually? No, it'll be after the wall, because it'll be after Yasracha pulled out with the fight with Yama. Yeah.
It's like, okay, so, I don't know. It's not really that Bomb fought Gato and whooped him or anything. It's like, no, he just helped beat him.
But my point is that, instead of me being like, oh, shit, a high ranker just pulled up on Bam, I'm like, shoulder shrug. Like, that's kind of my point. It's like, he'll be fine.
Say that the tension still wasn't there, and then if Bomb and Gato did fight, Bomb would win because he's Bomb, and that's.
Do you guys remember Gato was doing things like, "Oh wait, I subconsciously held back because you're a regular. I won't do the like SIU, man. Come on, dog. Come on, baby."
What happened, you know? Like, Bomb was struggling to even do what he did, which was fight with Kansan and land that blow. Now, I don't know. I agree that I see what Naya's saying. The Gato point to me didn't really make sense.
What a lot of people fail to understand is that it's hard for me to see Bam as inferior to those characters. As much as I understand he's not supposed to be on paper as strong as an Evankel and whatever the case may be, Bam is a monster. He's an irregular, and he might just evolve into battle. There's so many things that could happen.
So then Naya talks about Bomb might just evolve. He might just, achieve this new power and beat White. So the main focus of the video is basically Bomb and White. And I see what he's saying. Bomb's an irregular. He's someone who has received a ton of power-ups throughout the series. Transformations and items and...
I didn't say this in the video, so he could never address this point, so I'm not gonna... It's fine. But I do want to preface that one of my biggest issues with the current version of Bam is that I find it to be one of the strangest decisions humanly possible to have a 2-year time skip in which a character is constantly training to learn new things with Evankel, Hansung Yu, him going from battlefield to battlefield, to have him I'll give you the one time where him and Karaka used the palm to wake up Yama. He's not reflecting on his own training and learning and doing these attacks or pulling out things that he learned from Evankel. He is just learning and getting random power-ups after he just had a training arc. Like, why haven't I got a chance to see him flex all of those things he learned from the various battlefields and teachers that he had? Like, it is the strangest decision I have ever seen. Like, it's super weird. If Bam didn't train for those 2 years and this happened, maybe. But for him to do all that training to be like, okay, I got this cutlery, I got this shield, I got this arrow. Very, very weird decision in my opinion.
Powers that can essentially completely change the course of the fight. And sometimes it happened in Deus Ex
Now, why is this picture so HD, bro?
My critique with
See,
this
that
is
was like normal.
Bomb might just evolve, like that argument. You could say that since chapter 25 of season 1, when Bomb slices out Huaryun's eye and everyone's shocked.
He's got to be there. That's a good point. I think in retrospect and in hindsight, I don't remember what video I said that I admitted this. I didn't say it in this video, so we couldn't say anything about it. He's right on this point. It's been ever present if you really go back and you look at it. In hindsight and retrospect, he's always been that way to some degree. I think for me, I probably only really noticed it and I thought it was egregious in the last station moving forward, because I would argue that a lot of times it did come with a bit of a lesson. I think this true self mode that he did against Dada Jihad came with a bit of a lesson. Like, yeah, you're this monster with all these things about you, but it's your power, and kind of learn to accept it.
Or Bomb defeating the bull right at the end, when Dorsey couldn't even, and Anak couldn't beat the bull. Like, this bull was insane, and Bomb manages to muster up some irregular energy.
But also at this point too, sorry, I have to say this. At this point too, you have to understand that some authors are good at what I would say building a pattern and breaking it. For a time, maybe you're thinking, well, see, season 1, Bam doesn't come across as overpowered or anything, more so than he comes across as gifted. 2 is when you start to understand really like being an irregular is just some really, really super duper crazy feat. But I've had stories that build an expectation. The character usually wins this way. So let's say in 6 battles over the course of 120 chapters, it won a similar way. But the 7th time it didn't work. Oh, now you threw a monkey wrench into the formula. I would argue that maybe there was a point in my life, in reading Tower of God, I thought there might be a monkey wrench thrown into the formula, but he's only doubled down on no. A regular Bam win every fight, no matter what. So,
you could argue it's not irregular, but like my point is, even beginning of season 2, he has all these powers that come out of nowhere, and he's able to beat a B rank regular like Reflejo, like as an E rank regular. Like you can sort of see that.
He clashed with the wreck already at this point.
pattern way back when. Because the point is that Bomb is overpowered. And you can not like that, that's fine, but I don't really see how...
He's definitely right. I whine about that, and and I always say stop arguing against the point in futility. He's right about that. I need to just get over it.
Now, all of a sudden, or season 3, all of a sudden, it's like now it's kind of a problem. It's like, well, hasn't that always been the case? Hasn't Bomb always been busting out these powers at the last second or gaining some kind of edge on his opponent? We see it with Jihad. We see it at the last station, with the Black March. We see it a lot.
Well, the last station is when I started having issues with it personally, so.
But for a second. Bomb has the souls. He has the red and blue Thrissa. He has 2 thorns from Enryu. He, training from various dojos and
battlefields,
masters who trained him in Shinsu and martial arts. I'm probably forgetting half of what Bomb has at his disposal. Shinsu Black Hole Sphere training from the God of Guardians on the Hell Train. It's like
Flazer was Captain.
Has a ton at his disposal. And if we look at someone like Adori,
No,
Adori, when she
not
was
strong.
climbing, was beating rankers, at least, sort of further on in her climb. So, in my opinion, it's not that much of a stretch to assume that an irregular, like Bomb or Yurik, would also be able to kind of be crazy during their climb, and especially if you have like 15 different transformations or power-ups at your disposal. Bomb has never had tension because he's the main protagonist. I feel like now there's even more tension than in the past because at least...
Okay. This is an argument that I hear often with just people in general, where it's like, it's the MC. Of course the MC blah, 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 or of course the MC has plot armor or things of that nature. And the reason why I have always vehemently disagreed with this point is because I experience a myriad of narratives, from a webtoon to a manga to a video game to a movie, what have you, where if a main character is put in a situation that is very dire, the way in which they get out of that situation is very believable to me. Or it came at a great cost, or the person who came to save them, it made sense because of X, Y, and Z factors. And I have seen a couple of series where in a lot of ways the main character fails or dies. I've seen narratives where the main character somewhat changes. I don't want to really spoil this, but in Tsubasa of Reservoir Chronicles, we essentially change main characters at some point because of something that happens. Like you can't just use the argument main character MC, you good. Like no tension. It shouldn't be that way. I can't get behind that. I can't.
There could be consequences, and I've always said this. I don't want Bomb to defeat White, which is one of Naya's next points.
When I bring up this White versus Bam stuff and people looking at you like, Miles told me keep the fade.
Shout out to Miles.
And I'm like, what fade? What are you guys talking about? White is dying. He's done. SIU, for whatever reason, maybe does not want him in the story, but Bam is going to beat him. If you think for a second that the legendary Slayer from the second generation and sucking up a billion souls, all that, none of that matters no more. He's facing Bam. It's done. It's done.
White's gonna die because he's going up against Bomb. It's like, I don't want White to die, but if something happens, the story writing, in my opinion, is what matters because Bomb has never had tension. We've always known Bomb is gonna get out of his scenario or win out in the end somehow. It doesn't have to be a victory, it could be an escape or something, but there's never been tension. Like, he's the main protagonist. He has plot armor, So
I was scared for him when he went up against Dala Jihad. I was scared. I thought that would because obviously he was going up against the data of another irregular, so maybe that's why. But I was scared for him. You remember that first time when he seen some monstrous thing and he freaked out? Like, yeah, I don't agree with the idea there was never tension. I just think that it became increasingly harder to believe in it after a while in time. I'm sorry, chat. I'm going to address you in a second. I just want to get through the video first.
I feel like it's strange. Like, now it's an issue when I feel like now is the time when there actually could be consequences. And there was consequences in the latest chapter. I don't want to spoil it, but if you know, you know. There was a consequence for Bomb's actions. He has to learn that he can't just do what he wants. Now, this doesn't mean that Bomb is gonna lose, although it doesn't look great for Bomb right now. I have faith that Bomb is gonna do something. I'm not saying he's gonna lose, But to assume that, like, there's no tension because it's Bomb, and he's just gonna beat White, and that's it. It's like, well, how are we going to get there? You know, and I personally want to have faith in SIU. This arc has had the best story.
I tried. I held on as long as I could. The faith is gone. It's dead, all right? It's as dead as my soul.
Storytelling, in my opinion, out of like almost any arc that I can remember, because it has so many characters. It's not just Bomb. Lately it's always been just Bomb. It's like so many characters, so many storylines, so many backstories and plot developments, and there's so much happening. I can point out, like, I'm thinking of like 15 things that happened in the last 20 chapters since the hiatus, ended. It's like, this arc, I feel like, it's becoming peak Tower of God, in my opinion. And so, the fact that maybe Bomb will finally start to have consequences seems great. And who knows if it'll be at the expense of White, but as long as it's done well, I don't know. We have to see.
That little phrase itself just strikes me as a little odd at the kind of like the white part, just because I would argue I think you can make the case that for White, he has been the most evil and in a lot of ways most devious character in Tower of God. He has been the most real-time villainous character we have gotten to experience, with one of the most devious feats in the tower by building up two kingdoms, making them go to war with each other and sucking up all of those souls. The man is evil. To have a character with that much implication just fizzle out with a whimper, I think is significant. I don't think you can just write it off as, well, as long as it's well written, it's fine. Like, that's one of the legendary slayers from the second generation that was stopped by a Jihad princess. People put a lot of stock into that. And we spent a lot of time waiting for him to be complete to finally go crazy. And it's just so unfortunate the moment he actually has agency in the story. He's moving. He's not reactive. He's proactive. He about to die.
See how it happens, I suppose. Like, I wouldn't want Bomb to just absolutely destroy White. Yes, that would be bad, because White's a great character. It's like, I think it would be a waste. I think it'd be a waste if he even died. I don't want him to die. But at the same time, if it's done well, I mean, I don't know.
So his argument basically here is the execution. If the execution outweighs the conceptual problem, it's fine.
I think that's the best point that Naya makes, is that if Bomb just beats White, then yes, it really depends on how it happens, in my opinion. But I just don't agree that there's no tension. It's like, there is tension. Just because Bomb isn't going to die doesn't mean there can't be tension. There can be so much tension in so many other ways.
He's right. Death or losing a fight is not the only way to show consequences. A lot of people say, well, Bam could win, but what if he becomes a monster like White, loses his, goodness and morality? Which is all fair, but I don't give a damn. I don't give a damn about any of that. I really don't. Like, Bam's morality of what kind of person he is has never been a very interesting thing to me personally.
It doesn't have to be just because of Bomb. Because again, ever since we first met Bomb in Season 1, there's been no tension with his death. So I just think tension can be found in other areas.
If, for whatever reason, a lot of the Lopobia, like, top dogs and the family head comes through, that does come across to me as a very big deal and significant. So that's the only really big looming threat, danger thing that I think is happening, and that's the only thing that I think only sense of danger I felt in this series for quite some time.
Naya sort of ends the video by saying that the first real source of tension that he's felt in a long time in Tower of God is finding out that the Lopobia family is arriving, and I totally agree. I mean, I do think there's other massive sources of tension, like Mashani, with Jin Sung. I feel, dude, I don't know what Mashani's doing, but that to me is really scary. And Liboric,
But it like, the Mashani thing is intriguing. The Liboric thing is interesting, but I wouldn't say it's like something that's causing suspense and tension. It's just, she's a schemer. Part of the Kun family, he's got Kun in him, and he seems to be a schemer too. So they're kind of, interested in that in their own right.
Said, do not underestimate Liboric, dude. This guy is Adori's lapdog. He's one of Adori's number 2s, if not her number 2. This man has been around since the age of Genesis, freaking doing all kinds of schemes. Like Boric, you cannot underestimate like Boric. I just don't really see how there hasn't been tension this arc. I feel like there's been a lot. Maybe not the most in Tower of God, but we've had people bite the dust a few times on the good side and the bad side. I think it could happen maybe a little more. But one way or another, I thought Naya's video was good. I mean, his video was short. I mean, I'm sort of really expanding the points he's making in this, like, twice, you know, this video is over twice the length.
That's because there was almost no reason for me to go in such detail in that particular video, just because I speak about this stuff in my streams. And again, this was a series of me whining and complaining about things that were going on. It culminated in that video, and then I finally moved on to something else. Because remember, we had that really long stream with Milios that came through and stuff, where we were talking about all of that stuff too. So.
But I still think it's a great point. Some great points were made, and I do agree that if certain things happen, I wouldn't be a fan. But overall, Tower of God, in my opinion, has problems, but it's always had problems. And I feel like the problems in this arc are pretty small.
Well, no story is perfect. Yeah, no story is perfect. Nothing is flawless.
Comparison. So either way, let me know what you think. I'm genuinely curious. I kind of rambled near the end, so I apologize for that. But a lot of thoughts, obviously, about the various things happening here. Like the video, subscribe. Thank you all so much for 60,000 subscribers. I can't believe it. You know,
congratulations on that,
it's
by the
crazy
way.
Amount
Congratulations on
of support
60. Well deserved.
So thank you to each and every one of you. And thank you to my patrons as well for coming up with such amazing video ideas. I'm going to be working on a ton of them in the coming weeks.
Okay, so I think that's the end of that. Okay. Just to summarize some final thoughts here. Yeah, he honestly hasn't said anything to sway any of my current opinions. I do think he had a point on the fact that if you really think about it in hindsight and retrospect, Bam has always been kind of unstoppable. Though I disagree with there was no tension with him. I think that started to decline further and further and we went to the series. But hey, I always enjoy reacting to other people's thoughts and stuff and things of that nature. If this is something you would like to see me do more often with other, you know, I guess channels and things like that, you just let me know. Congrats on 60K, brother. And yeah. Bam, go. CBL, certified Bam lovers, we unite. Okay, chat. My bad. I didn't want you guys influencing anything, so I'm sorry about that. Okay. We back, cool boy. Didn't know this happened. Just thought it was all you put me back in. This video was good. I still agree with Naya more. I appreciate that. You scared and I'm scared of me. Yeah, my captain taught me to keep the faith. Hello there. It was actually because of this dub the first season I started TOG. Nah, just quickly checked your video. Few new capping comments. Yuck. Bruh, right over there. Back at it. Back like we never left. Back in the day, every game was a risk. Oh, Naya go. Oh, God, bro. Can't say that now in the war against Jaha, which is crazy. He got that broadcaster voice. He said, does he? I mean, there's a lot of unnamed soldiers that died back in the workshop battle when there were stakes and people were actually taking L's. Naya Stinky. Take my free money. Thank you, sir. Yikes. Simi. Bonehead had those 4K panels. Don't look. Not. Maybe on my phone. On my phone it does. I think it does. My phone looks way better. I thought Yem was winning the fight before the reveal of putting the fear. That nigga was not pressed. A debate stream between y'all will be interesting. Yeah, yes, Ratcha said anything you can do, I can do effortlessly. okay, what's up, Vince? I think that's because you already knew about the fear taking over. Fact. So do I agree with that. Bop and Weave OP. When is the Cabrera content coming? It's coming, man. It's there. It's not gone anywhere, but it's coming. If we don't know if it was the fear that caused him to lose the fight, and if it was, we were going with blah, blah, blah. Yo. Get back in the shower, Simon. So yeah, Smasher was not losing that fight at all at any point in there. Gato was a fucking bomb. Don't make me get road and control Badger. No, Bam didn't need cut and rack against Daily or Delete. If the call didn't get me, road and control dude, Delete, ugliest hairstyle. Yeah, Bam didn't need help to beat him. Look at what Bam's doing right now. Those rankers were never a threat. Agreed. Wake me up when Bam loses the fight. That delete point is not good because it's just SIU being dumb and depowering Pam every and okay. You're not getting up. Sounds good to me. We move internal light. We know that's bullshit. That's he didn't even depower Bam in that fight. He just didn't want Bam to wash him by himself. He's not a ranker level. He was like first. He had this weird moment of time where he was trying to like hide Bam's strength, and I'm like, bro, he's ranker level. It's okay now. We have accepted it. I was wrong. Dustin was right. We are good. It was normal then because Bam wasn't that far off from his opponents. Not like White. Needed something to spend my channel points on. Where's the smoke a blunt for 2K points? Okay, the channel point thing will come with the more emotes. I just got Nightbot and I've done upgrades. Can I live, please? Can I live? Looking for new techniques. He uses on White is new now. The flower looking technique he uses on White now. What flower technique? Wait until next chapter. About to do a 180. Yeah, that's what I mean. But he makes Mam strong as F in the next fight. He's fighting people on a ranker level. Where's the make Hams play Genshin for 10k? Okay, y'all just okay. Where are the important comments? The arrow. Blah blah blah. Arrow wasn't that bad. The arrow was the least egregious of all of them because it had set up in conjunction with his thorn and whatnot. I've always said that. To me, the shield is worse than the cutlery. The shield is the one that bothered me the most. He used it really well in this fight, though, to get to stick him. Isn't it strange to be so accepting of all the winning and plot armor? There's a general consensus between a lot of people who just like what did Kwame Brown call it? The get along, go along gang, where there's a certain type of thought process that people just subscribe to and kind of go with it. I think it's very common. It's not to knock anybody for thinking this, but it's very common for people to just be like, hey, MC main character, never going to be tension because they're the main character. They're supposed to like win all the time. So they never really, so they assume that when they have plot armor, it's fine. Whereas I'm like, no, not in my world. In my narratives and when I read, I watch my character struggle, lose, die, and sometimes the MC change because one of them failed. And then someone else took up the mantle. Or there was like a false chosen one. You know what I'm saying? Remember when Bam cut a Rex cheek? Yup. The now Burn the Souls thing is more jarring because the arrow wasn't bad. We don't know how strong the other irregulars were. God damn, we need to know if Urek was the same when he was climbing. If he got powers during fights. I'm sure he got stronger. I don't like the argument that Urek came into this tower as strong as he is now. That doesn't make any sense to me. Don't like this argument. You know when a Mark got his ass beaten invisible, that was a welcome change. Yeah, breaking K5, that he's an irregular point, has no evidence to support the claim by I'm so strong right now. I have to lose plot armor. I like to have loose plot armors. Love seeing Mark get his ass beat. Character development. Subana Goldie Chronicles plus plus Holic. Yes, the other side of the story with what's the witch's name again? Yukio? Yeah, I remember her name. There's never been tension, and even if that were so, that isn't a good thing. I probably should have said that. I thought that in my head, but no one knew Bam was going to go toe-to-toe with Dada Jihad like he did. True Dada Jihad had a lot of tension. Did I read the raw translations? No, I don't read the raw translations. Not yet. I'm probably going to cave at some point. I used to just at least do the fast pass because I like to record 3 chapters ahead, but Line Webtoons is so weird with how you can read the fast pass stuff. So I've actually just been doing it chapter by chapter, but I'm probably going to go 3 weeks ahead again because I need to be ahead so I have more time to do other things. Okay, One Piece does that pretty well. Oda kind of characters make situations fail and feel tense even if it hesitant to kill characters. I also feel there's a difference between the tension of dying and the tension of losing. Like most MCs won't die, but Bam's problem wasn't the tension of dying, it's the fact that there was no tension of Bam losing, which makes it boring. When the real Dada Jihad pulled up, shit was scary. When the real Jihad pulled up, yeah. Facts, Dada Jihad had me shook like a Bam stand. He only reads officials. Peak Tower of Bam. Okay, so that was Cap. The Cap on this app built up White just to take him down. Remember Sashi Faker, one of the strongest D-Rex like regulars? The nigga did jack shit. He used Vine Whip. He doing that to White. I'm a free who effing cares about Bam's dark change. White about to be gone afterwards. LOL, Bam not gonna change. Dark Bam. Dark deserves the power. Bam deserves the power. I wouldn't mind. I think after you watched Marineford and thought Luffy is weak compared to everyone here, and Bam will definitely do better. Can only pop it for a second now, but that's totally true. White's build up as a big deal, and if he's killed, I'll be support. That's thanks, Naya. Good stuff. I'm gonna post it on YouTube for other people to see later on if you're still in here, Bonehead. Again, I like doing stuff like this. The doctor is here. I think Light is also a huge person we should worry for, more so than Macheni. Bam gonna be sad for 2 episodes, then change back. I think what makes him different in Tower as he gets dark, maybe too many manhwa would be original, keeping him struggling to be good. Honestly, I cannot say anything about Light. Light might just clap Caliban with ease. We'll just see. Light is I don't have a good read on yet. On all things considered, I'm not really sure how to feel about him yet. We'll love to see Light go ham. Don't know what the F would happen. That nigga. What matters really are consequences. If you feel sad longer is fine, but him just being edgy, he could just become a manhwa revenge protagonist, which is worse. We need to have a debate. We all need to have a debate stream. Chief 3000. It's not that I'm against that, but like, I'm like, you guys. How much do you guys want to see me whine and complain? I'm so tired. I need a break. I just want to talk about Kubera or something. Like, I need a break. Something you guys want, could set it up, but I just need it. Anyways. CBL, a debate about streaming Tiger wouldn't be bad. After this arc, Shoji Ibas with debate would be nice. The base stream I would pull up. I gotta protect the shield. We need to cut Louis and CBL merch. He really needed that shield, so maybe I guess it was justified and magical thinking justifies. Cutlery not. Kamina, the shield made sense. It could have been handled better. It didn't make sense. What do you think comes after in this arc? What comes after is I get destroyed because it gets worse and worse and I cry about it and I whine even longer. Oh, okay. I got through all the comments. Shit, sorry. Yeah, you guys let me know what you really thought about that. Actually, that's a good idea. I would love to have a community discussion about this. We get Haku, we get Milios, I guess we get like Sunwoo, is it Phil Bill? I don't remember his name is. We get Dr. Bonehead, obviously have me, we have Vince, we get I feel like I'm forgetting somebody significant. I'm sorry if I am. And we have a general discussion about the current state of Tower God. I'll see. Oh, AOA, Apostles of Anime. I'll see if I can set that up because that's not bad too. Because you'll have like longer established veterans like me, Bonehead, Haku. You'll have some newcomers who kind of cut up recently, like Milios and stuff, and maybe some people somewhere in the middle. It's not a bad idea. But I'd rather that be a larger discussion. But man, I'm so tired. Oh, man. So, yeah. We need Kubera. Naya 209 is out. Oh, for Kubera? Okay, thank you. I usually read them on Wednesdays. I record them on Wednesdays usually, but I'll probably do it tomorrow then if it's out already. Need a certified band lover stream where we sing band's praise? For sure. Yes, the Kubera grind. Get through it. Okay. Thank you guys for coming. I'm going to go work out. I'm going to shower. And we'll be back to finish Dritz's video. You guys stay awesome. Yeah.